Good morning, students. Let us start our today's class. But before starting, I want to tell you one thing. That in the previous class, I think maybe operators was left. But I think I had taught you full specification about the operators. That means there is arithmetical operator, logical operator and relational operator. So without wasting much of our time, let us start our new topic, that is keywords. Keywords are what? Keywords are the reserved words. Reserved words, that means these are reserved for some special verbs. Okay, so these words cannot be used for any other purposes. So keep in mind, keywords are the reserved words which are used for some special work in the program. Now, keywords, under keywords we are going to have class, public, static, void main and the other things. So this is the last topic of your tokens. Now the next topic is what? Data types. Data types what? Data types. Let us start data types. In data types we are having many types of data types. The first one is, basically if you talk about the data type, there is only two types, but in two types there are many types. So let us understand it step by step. Data types are further categorized into two types. Data types further categorized into two types. The first one is primitive type data, primitive data type, and the next one is non-primitive data type. Primitive type and non-primitive data type. Now what is primitive data type and what is non-primitive data type? Primitive data types are those data types which are predefined to the compiler. That means its value is predefined to the compiler. Whereas non-primitive data types are those data types which are not defined. It is user defined. Its value is user defined by the users. Okay. How? I am explaining over here. In primitive data types, we are having integer, long, float, double, char, and boolean. And if we talk about non-primitive data types, then we are having class, array, interface. Primitive data types: integer, long, float, double, char, boolean. Its value predefined to the compiler. But here, whatever we will design, it is user defined. As if I give you example, any name of the class is a user defined. Means class ATC XYZ, class Pratik, class Ashish, class mechanical, class biotechnical. These are what? The names are definite. Names are designed by the user. Okay. But here integer, we are not defining any name for it. Its value predefined. That means it will take only integer value. Long, for the values which are not going to be fit in integer, it has to be taken under long. Then float, for decimal values less than up to 7 decimal places. Double value more than 7 decimal places. Char for single characters and boolean for true and false. But here you can see the all values, whatever values over here are predefined. Okay, keep in mind, primitive data types are those data types whose values are predefined to the compiler, whereas non-primitive data types are those data types whose values are not predefined. Okay, keep in mind. Now one more thing is there in your book. There is the table for the range. Table is given that how much length an integer occupy, how much length a long can occupy, how much length a float can occupy, how much length a char can occupy, how much length a boolean can occupy. It is being given over there. So students, as I told you that the ranges are written in your book, you can go through it, but I want to tell you some things like a byte. A byte is of 8 bit. 8 bit. That means it has 1 byte in it. So size of this is 1 byte. Then if you talk about short, for that 16 bit, it stores 2 byte. Then after that integer, that means int, it is having 32 bit, that means 4 bytes. And last one is long, that means 64 bit, 4 bytes. So these all things is given in your book. You can go through it and you can learn it from there. But just keep in your mind that what the particular use of it and what are the data types used for it. Data type for byte, it should be bit, te, short, same one, integer, int, and long. For long it is like that. If you talk about the float and double float will for float is used for 32 bits and double is used for 64 bits data to be stored. So keep in mind, if you talk about the integer type, then in integer type we are having these 4 options, that byte, short, int and long. And if you talk about floating type, then we are having these 2 things. The first one is float and the other one is double. Okay. And if you talk about the characters, then I think I had taught you in the previous lecture about this A to Z, small a to Z and 0 to 9. These are the ranges 65 to 90, then 97 to 122, and this is for 48 to 57. This is of 58 to 57. So this is the range for character type. Now these things, these sizes, you have to be very clear in your mind, because when you are going to design your program, in that case what you have to do, you have to be memorize these lengths. Otherwise you will not design your program. You are not going to able to design your program if you are not going to have a habit of knowing that what particular size of these data types there are. Now the next topic of your book is type conversion. And one thing I want to make you very clear, please go through page number 53. There is one table is given for you all. That is the size of all the data type, and this is your homework also, this is your assignment also, to memorize that size, because that will help you in boards exams as well as in internal exams. Okay. Now the next one is type conversion. Next, type conversion is of two types. The first one is implicit type conversion, and the next one is explicit type conversion. In implicit type conversion, what happens? We do not have to do anything. It implicitly convert the type of the data. Okay. Suppose if I give you one example, then long b int a equals to 10, b equals to 20, and the result d equals to a plus b. Now this results, this d is of which type? Long type, and this a and b is of integer type. So their result come in long type. One more example, if double d is there, int a equals to 10, b equals to 20, then in that case if d equals to a plus b we will do, then d is equals to a plus b, that means 10 plus 20, and we'll get the result 30.0. Now see, here these values are in integer, but here it is in fractional part. So this is known as implicit type conversion. And in implicit type conversion, what happens? It converted by its own. Okay? So keep in mind, implicit type conversion is being done by its own. Compiler do it by its own. Now the next one is explicit type conversion. What is explicit type conversion? We will study in this one. In explicit type conversion, whatever conversion is being done, it has been done forcefully. That means we have to convert it by force. Okay? Explicit type conversion. Explicit type conversion is another way of type conversion in which the data type gets converted to another type depending upon the user's choice. This means that the user demands the system to get the result in the desired data type. Now suppose you are having one double a comma b. These two things you are having. Then int f is equals to int a into b, and a is equals to 1, 2, and b equals to 3. So not 2.2 and 3.2. Okay. So what is over here? Here the question is being given in double form. That means our type is of double form, but I am getting it in integer form. How? We are just forcefully we are converting it into integer type. That means double type of my data is there, and I am forcefully converting it into the double type. What you will get? You will get the result f is equals to 2 into 3, that means 6, because integer will ignore this decimal part. Okay? So this is the type of conversion, explicit type conversion. Here the hierarchy is the most important. One thing you have to keep in mind, hierarchy level is always very important.